With the Lord of the Flames engulfed within me, I was like a cannon. I shot an enraged ball of fire through the sky, where there were hundreds of them. The witches leaped across the open skies. The moon lay barren behind the mother of all the witches, the lady whom I was facing. I was attacked, struck down by her great swoop. I plummeted on a pile of rocks, my soul in barren pieces, broken. But then I quickly burst into flames one more time. I leaped to the sky. I targeted her as a sniper rifle, and I shot down straight at her, like the speeding bullet that I was. When she fell down, after I slammed into her body, she and the rest all popped simultaneously, like the defeated display that they were. Behold, I was once again the dragon.
And thank you again, Yella. I am the Great Boudini, and welcome to another edition of the Meeting of the Minds, the only anti-elitist show on the internet. I am the Great Boudini.
And I'm Sir Lancelot. We just wanted to touch in brief on the last part of our trilogy here.
This is actually, this is the final chapter of this trilogy that we have been on. These are probably, I'm going to say it right off because Lance is the one who's going to be taking over here, but I just want to throw out my thing on this. Adore I was never really a huge fan of, but there, in preparing for this episode, I did listen to the album, and I did find some of the tracks rather good. But Machina, when that came out, I was a fan of that more than the other one, the Adora.
Yeah, in this whole era, you would really see them kind of teetering off. There was a lot of tension in the band. There was a lot of drug use in the band.
Oh, yeah.
Darcy even was, bad into it. So, and it really reflects on the ambience and the industrialness, too, of this album. There's some tracks like Pug that are very, very techno-sounding, very distorted. Or tracks like Perfect where it's just soft. For Martha, piano ballad. It's just very diverse, but also very same and more... Ironically, more melancholy than melancholy.
Right.
So...
Well, this is... I always consider this album like them trying to be Nine Inch Nails. They were trying their best to more or less do what was popular at the time, which was the industrial stuff. You had White Zombie, you had, of course, the Gods, Nine Inch Nails themselves. You had Manson doing his thing, and, Nails were doing it, but Pumpkins were like, hey... That's kind of interesting.
Right, exactly. And, that was the last, I guess most people would consider the golden streak for the Smashing Pumpkins. Because by the time Machina came around, Darcy was kind of out of the picture.
Did she even play on that album? Did she play on Machina?
A few tracks here and there. And she has writing credits on some of it, but...
And then they got Melissa
Stand Inside Your Love,
right?
I think. Yeah. So... And then there was Machina too, but that was kind of overlooked. But, you know, I think some of the singles from that album were good. Stand Inside Your Love, Everlasting Gaze is a banger, you know. And you know, but a lot of it just kind of goes in one ear, you know, out the other.
Well, and then I remember the that DVD that had all their videos on it, and there was also a couple live tracks, and it was a show from, I think, 2000, and Melissa was on bass, James was there, Jimmy was back in the band, and they played Ode to No One, and they still had it, dude. It was still like that wall of sound that, you know, there's the Pumpkins studio band, and then there's the Pumpkins live band, and just like Adora, you know, during that Adora period, you got that album, but when you went and seen them in concert, you didn't really get that. You got something. You got the grits, fucking distorted Pumpkins. You know.
That's what made them great. That's what made them popular. But
I like bands that can do that. That you think you know who they are, and then when you go see them live, it's just a different, like, whoa, totally. It's not what you were expecting at all.
Right, you know, sometimes it could be a lot more aggressive than you thought. Sometimes it could be a certain arrangement that you weren't anticipating.
Right.
So,
or like a chord progression that's played the same way, but maybe amplified, or
they're just tweaking it somehow.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, like, okay, remember in A Song for the Dead from Songs for the Deaf, there was those times and those, you know, like was wow wow, but when they would do that in concert, they would do it differently every time. They would never play it the way it was played on the album. So,
and a lot of bands still do that.
Yeah,
you know,
and that's what makes them great.
We were just talking about jam bands a while ago, and you know, but you still go into the grunge scene, and a lot of those bands were just, you know, near half-hour long jam sessions, or extending a song. Like, you know, we brought up Silverfuck. They treated that song very well for over a half hour.
Oh, so. Yeah. It was definitely one of those, like, it's time to take a piss or let's go get a beer moment. But, I mean, to the nerd or to the diehard fan, it was like going to the promised land with your band, so to speak. You know, it was like, wow, I didn't expect them to go there. And I mean, the same thing goes for this out, you know, with Adora or even Machina for that matter. You know, you think you hear what it is on the album, and then they play it live, and it's total. Not even like, I don't even think the synthesizers are really there anymore. I think it's just like backed off, and it just goes full on just the band. You know, like the Who and Tommy. When you listen to Who and Tommy, there's all these bells and whistles and, you know, this really great layered album, but when you go see it play live, it's 4 instruments: guitar, bass, drum, and vocals. That's it. And, you know, there are no tubular bells, or there's no whistles or anything like that. It's just 4 guys up there ripping shit up. And, you know, that's the way the Pumpkins were. And I think it was a good idea for Billy to end it right when this happened.
I don't know if he did that in the moment just because he was upset, because next thing you know, Smashing Pumpkins are putting out more stuff.
Right.
You know?
Well, I mean, even so, I mean, like, you got to think what happened with Jimmy, and then Darcy, you know, succumbing to the drug use, so to speak, and he's still there with James. And, I mean, I don't know if him and James were headbutting or if he resented James or what, but, you know, maybe Billy was thinking, and that's probably one of the reasons why there hasn't been a talk of a reunion up until recently, is probably because he felt so hurt. You know, you never know. I mean, you know, we're supposed to be a band of brothers, and people can't get their shit together, or, you know, you're letting me down every time I turn around, and, you know, I'm the breadwinner, more or less, of, you know, I'm the reason why you guys have fucking cars. And, you know, and it's very narcissistic to say shit like that, but when you think about it in hindsight, it's fucking true. You know, he was the driving person of that band. He wrote pretty much 99.5 or 8% of the songs and the
lyrics.
Arrangements.
Yeah.
So he more or less is paying all these guys. you know, and they're letting him down. So he probably like, hey, fuck it, I'm gonna
Just
end this and then regroup.
Now it's like a Nine Inch Nails sort of thing.
Yeah, well, then Swan came out, and I seen Swan. I wasn't really too impressed with Swan. I seen him in concert, and that was the one and only time I've ever seen. I went to a show, and I almost walked out. It was cool in the beginning of the day when we're waiting outside, and we're up against this wall at the Hard Rock here in Orlando. We're up against this wall, and there's this door, and all of a sudden we notice this guy comes up in this cap, and he's like, "Hey guys, what's going on?" And we looked up, and it's Billy Corgan, you know, and we're like, "Oh, hey." You know, how's it going?
Oh,
you know, it was one of those star-studded moments where he was, you know, he had a smile on his face. He was like, "Hey, hope you guys ready to rock," kind of deal. And I only went to the show with the notion of, okay, they're gonna play some Pumpkin stuff. Why not? Why wouldn't he play Pumpkin stuff? No, guy didn't
Not
play
a single song.
Nothing,
Yeah.
nothing, no Pumpkins whatsoever. And I was really bummed. And like I said, there was a moment where I looked out and these people are going crazy, and I'm just like, this fucking sucks. I'm thinking, I cannot believe I fucking spent $20 on this show. And I was about ready to walk out, and then I was like, well, fuck it. You know, I might as well say I saw it. So I stayed, but then like when I walked out, I was like, fuck, this band sucks. I mean, the only cool thing about it was Paz, who was in Perfect Circle, was the bass player for Swan. But and then what, his solo album, that first solo album that came out.
Yeah, see, that too is like, okay. I mean, it's something different, but it's nothing like Serj Tankian solo stuff where it's like, all right, now he's doing something interesting.
And speaking of A Perfect Circle, James would go on to join A Perfect Circle, he is actually still a member of. Anytime they get, even though he's never necessarily, I don't think, recorded on an album. He might have did some stuff with Emotive, but I don't really think he's ever been recorded on an actual studio album. But as far as 2004, I think, yeah, because I seen the two times I saw him on the 13th Step tour, he was there. So I'd say from 2004 to present, he's been a member of at least the live incarnation of A Perfect Circle. And that's another one which I think you brought up on like underrated guitar players, James Iha. Oh my God, guys, you don't even realize that he's playing that shit. You're like, wow, that's crazy. That's James right there.
And it's like it's got some kind of finesse to it. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like his style is incomparable.
Yeah,
because. And it added a certain element that made the Pumpkin sound that way.
Exactly.
And I don't know whose influence it was really for Adore. I'm pretty sure it's Mel Billy. Yeah. But
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, he was the mastermind. So
but James also, you know, when they were so early, they started out as kind of like a gothic, like Cure wannabe type of thing. So I imagine it was the two of them, kind of just butting heads for the whole album, and then you get that, which is good. It's all good. But it's definitely a emotionally powerful listen. Like, you'll feel some kind of weight afterwards. Like, all right, I need something that'll kind of lift my spirits now.
Right.
But, yeah, that was a great, you know, kind of last hurrah for them. I don't consider Machina like that. Machina and Machina 2 are just their own thing.
Yeah.
I think Adore was like the real last-ditch effort for the Smashing Pumpkins in their heyday.
Right. Well, I've heard rumors about Machina that it was kind of like, it was supposed to be like Melancholy in the sense that it was supposed to be like a concept album, and it was supposed to have part 1 and part 2. And then here recently, I've been hearing a lot of rumors that when it comes up for this album to be re-released, like the other albums have, he's gonna put them both together. He's gonna and put them like how they should have been originally put. Like how he originally thought of the idea, that's how he's going to release it.
Yeah.
So that's going to be interesting to listen to. I would actually.
Plus, it'll kind of revitalize Machina 2 a little bit, too.
Because I had no idea there was a Machina 2, and I remember I texted you, I was like, did you know there's Machina 2? Stupidly, and you're like, yeah.
It's on their Wikipedia page. I mean, it's right there, but
it wasn't really popularized. Like, it wasn't like, oh, Machina 2 here, part 2 of Machina, or anything like that. I think it was just released, like, hey, let's release part 2 and see if anybody notices. Which, I don't think anybody noticed.
yeah.
Like, hey, that's what the whole idea was. Like, oh, there's new Pumpkins album now?
What? I don't know. Maybe they thought it was going to be a double album at first, but
now, after his solo stuff and when he got back, when he decided to revive the name, so to speak.
Yeah, then you get Oceania and Zeitgeist and the new one, and make of it what you will. Zeitgeist had poor production, good songwriting. Oceania, great songwriting, very glistening quality, and the new one is just went right past me. So, I mean, should the original lineup getting back together, would that be a good thing? I think maybe. They have to really be in the right mindset. But I think they know what that feeling is like. So
right. Well, and I also think that, I saw the interview that Billy did that was on the radio station, and he said, yes, we are thinking about it. We are in talks. And he said, no, I do not plan on, touring for this for like 15 years, so to speak. So, it's kind of like the Guns N' Roses thing. I mean, if we get the shit rolling and say they get on stage and they all click and they all like say, hey, I love you, I love you, I love you, get back together. It could, form something else. I mean, Billy says, oh, I'm not interested. But you can't make those decisions until you actually get in the studio or get into some place and jam together. Right. And if shit starts clicking and everything's like, hey, let's do an album, or let's do a couple songs, whatever. I mean, I would love to see that tour.
What it would be like now,
I think when it starts out, they would probably wind up starting slow, like clubs, like a House of Blues or like a Hard Rock, but eventually
those would sell so fast.
Dude, like we would have to be at the Hard Rock or House of Blues ticket the day they open. Like they open at 9, we're there at like 7.
Yeah.
That's the way it would have to be. Like, we would have to sneak on to Universal property in order to get those tickets if it was at the Hard Rock. But I think as it would go, it would get bigger. And then it would eventually go into stadiums. Or not stadiums, but, something like an Amway or Boston Garden or Staples Arena, something of that nature.
Right.
I mean, I'm not saying it's going to be fucking like Metallica size where they're playing, like, football arenas or football
but the
stadiums.
ticket prices are going to be crazy for that. Oh, and speaking of that, this is another thing we want to talk about, is just ticket prices in general. Mostly Ticketmaster, but I've been seeing high prices, not just from third-party markets, but just all across the board.
Well, like, okay, when I brought this idea to you, it was because of the Metallica show, okay.
Initially, we thought they were like $150 a pop, and we were
like the lowest ticket we saw was $140. Now, my buddy wound up going on and finding tickets for $55. Now, anybody else I've talked to since then has said your buddy's fucking insane. I've only seen the lowest I've seen is like $125 for Metallica, and I said, I kind of lost respect for him for a brief second until we got those $55 tickets, because I'm like, dude, this is something Barbra Streisand would do. She would charge fucking $800 for a nosebleed ticket.
Yeah,
or
Rolling Stones.
Or something like. Well, yeah. I mean, the first time they played, or when they played here the last time, like I said, with Limp Bizkit, Linkin Park, Mudvayne, Deftones, for that Summer Sanitarium tour, I think it was $80. And at the time, 2003, that was a lot of fucking money for a show. And then you're thinking about it now, with them and 2 other bands, you're like, and these bands suck ass. I mean, why couldn't it be like Mastodon or Anthrax or somebody of that caliber. Somebody that could actually hold a candle to fucking Metallica. And, you know, the two guys they have on the band, like, we've talked about it. I'll probably wind up going and chilling out somewhere else. And
Yeah, just get chili dogs outside the inn or something.
Oh, they're done. Okay, it's Metallica time.
Funny you should mention that. You're mentioning that somebody was lying about finding $55+ tickets to go see Metallica. Well, I just pulled up my Ticketmaster app on my phone, and actually, right now, the lowest I'm seeing right now is $55.50 for the cheapest price to go to Metallica.
Yeah, now we've recently discovered that it's a lot less expensive.
Yes.
But initially, when the tour was announced, they said it'd be $150. So,
But not even going to that. I mean, like, looking at Pearl Jam. You know, Pearl Jam fought Ticketmaster back in the 90s. They even did a whole tour where they put it on all themselves. A lot of times, you know, the PA system would go out and they couldn't do a show, so the next night they would play like a 4 or 5 hour long show. You know, it's like, hey, we didn't play long last night, we're gonna play extra long tonight.
yeah.
You know, something like that. But what I'm saying but like, you go see a Pearl Jam show now, and just say it's like Pearl Jam and Kings of Leon. That's $75 to $80 is starting out for a fucking Pearl Jam. That's the lowest ticket for the Pearl Jam show we were going to go see in Tampa. And I remember telling you, I was like, no fucking way. I'm like, what happened to your fight, guys? What'd you guys...
Right, and like I paid even more than that to go, you know, get tickets for Radiohead.
Oh,
So,
yeah. You said it was like, what, $200 for two? Or something like that?
a little more than that.
Well, I mean, still, I mean, you know, well, like you said, it's a bucket list band. It's one of your favorite bands of all time.
Yeah, but still, I mean, yeah, sure, you can call it inflation, you can call it whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But is it because they want to deter selling out shows? Is it because of greed? I don't know.
Well,
the music industry makes billions upon billions of dollars a year.
Well, nothing that pisses me off is when they do the pre-sale for, like, you know, the members. Like, when we were actually, remember the show, we were going to go see Jack White back in, when he was up in Jacksonville. And I remember I think it was like, tickets were like $30 to $40. Like, yeah, sweet, all right, you know, we'll fucking pay that.
We can do that.
You know, we'll go road tripping. And then the fucking tickets sell out during the pre-sale. How does the show sell out during a pre-sale? What about it? That pisses me the fuck off. It does. It pisses me off. I cannot stand it. It's like, hello, there's other people who want to go see Jack White other than your fucking fan base. But then come to find out that it's other, like, ticket people online that buy out all those tickets, put them on their shit, and jack the shit up. Oh, you want to go see Jack White? Okay, $250, bro. $250 for... No. Fuck that. I'll go watch I'll watch my Bonnaroo DVD. You know? But it's just ridiculous, man, with tickets like that. I mean...
Especially in, like, big bull arenas. I mean, unless you get something off Groupon or, you know, like you were saying, like a pre-sale, maybe you can get tickets cheaper. It's fine. Or you're at the box office. There's no processing fees or anything like that.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Well, that's the way
Or you're going to a smaller venue, you know? Like there's a couple clubs around us that, you know, host some big bands to us, but they're small in comparison to a Guns N' Roses.
Right. Exactly. Well, it's like my buddy, he went to 311 show tonight, and he asked me, he said, what would be the best bet to do? Should I go buy the ticket online, or should I just go to the House of Blues box office? I'm like, go to the House of Blues box office. Like, you're just going to pay outright. You're not going to pay no fucking fees, no nothing. He calls me back, like, that afternoon. He's like, dude, he's like, it was only $30, dude. He's like, because, like, if it was going to send to his house, it would have been like $42 or $45. And he was like, oh, bro, thanks. Because I'm going to do that every time now.
Yeah. If you can, if it's manageable.
Yeah, I want to say a story or something like that too, because you were mentioning how, you know, certain shows or certain events, like third party ticket vendors, they buy a bulk load of that particular event, and then they resell it under either a cheaper or a higher price. Mm-hmm. You know, another site that's very known for that, it's a site called Premium Seats USA. Mm-hmm. They're actually based off of Florida. Hollywood, Florida, to be specific, because here's the thing. I actually bought since I work for a cable provider here in Orlando, I actually get a 10% discount for going to certain events, and it just so happens that earlier this year in January 2nd, WWE Raw was actually in Tampa. Now, I went to go to Ticketmaster because I was taking myself, my parents, and my girlfriend with us to go to Monday Night Raw that day. And when I went to go to Ticketmaster, they were charging me for like seats that didn't have really good views for all four total for around $300+. That's from Ticketmaster.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, I went to Premium Seats and I found 4 tickets for at least to get a good viewing of, the ring and also the entranceway for where the wrestlers come out.
Yeah.
And along with the discount I get because from my job, I only paid $100 less for it.
Nice.
So I paid around $200 something, just so we can see Monday Night Raw that day.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, you see that in going back, wrestling. Okay, we're gonna have WrestleMania here in Orlando, Florida, and I love to go to see WrestleMania. But my homeboy over here tells me that the lowest price ticket for WrestleMania is $116.
That's for the bleachers.
Yeah, that's for the bleachers. That's for up in the nosebleeds. You can't see shit. I mean, the wrestlers look like little Ant-Man, and I make the argument. I'm like, that is fucking ridiculous. And then he says, but it's WrestleMania. I'm like, fuck that. I will spend the $50, get it on pay-per-view. I will get inside the ring, see the sweat, see the action, the way it is.
Instead of 2 little dots going back and forth.
And in the company of my home. And guess what? When it's over, because I can see the whole thing, when it's over, I just turn my TV off and I can go to bed. There, you got to fight traffic. You got to fight drunk assholes that are like, oh yeah, Sting wrestler, woo! You got to fight through that shit. And no, I'll spend the $50 and catch it on pay-per-view. But he's like, it's Orlando. It's in our home. I didn't see it in 2007 when they were here, but I saw it on the pay-per-view. And you know what? I cried like a baby when Ric Flair was retired. The famous "I love you" super kick. If you didn't fucking break a tear for that one, that's pretty bad.
And then the Monday Night Raw afterwards, where they just dedicated the entire show to Ric Flair.
Yeah, that was pretty intense. And that was actually the first time you see Charlotte Flair.
Yes.
So anyway, well, it's been an interesting topic, interesting day. Little good tidbit here. Good time to end the episode in the trilogy. I did have an interesting take on this. I love the ride. We will soon be doing something different, another different topic after our next episode. We will, until then, leave it a mystery. But until then,
it's just a new idea.
We
love trying out new things.
Yeah, we like trying new things. I mean, like we said in the beginning, we wanted to do something different. It's not necessarily about a band each time. It just so happens that that's the way it happens a lot of times. But, we're going to try something different here in the near future. And
it is what it is.
It is what it is, and it is what it ain't. And what it ain't, it's time to head on down that dusty trail. Like I always say, I'm the Great Bodini.
And I'm Sir Lancelot.
And in the immortal words of Eddie Vedder, we'll see you on the flip side. So, I was telling you about Mike. He's going to the 311 show tonight. And we were talking about it last night. And we were actually brought up our 311 day trip. And it's funny because...
Always wanted to go.
Yeah?
Always.
He's...
That or the cruise, because both of them sound awesome.
Dude, this is his 30th show. 30th 311 show. And he's like 50-something years old, bro. You know, when you meet this guy, you look at him and he tells you 311's his favorite band, you wouldn't believe it. You know, especially after the laundry list of bands that he's seen or he's been a part of, and you're like, wow, 311, really? Out of all those things? Okay. So I told him, I was like, just imagine out of all those 30, I said, you've seen the powwow. I said, we've seen 311 Day. I said, well, we saw that shit together. That was in 2008, and I was working for Nickelodeon Resort at the time out in
the Universal?
No, it was it's out near Disney. It's like off of 535. Okay. It's Nickelodeon Hotel or something, but it's affiliated with Holiday Inn. So we were able, through the work, to get a Holiday Inn near New Orleans, where 311 Day was going to be. We were going to get a hotel room for like half the money. So we were there for, I think, 2.5 days, 3 days, something like that. And it was like $300, I think, for 3 days or something with the discount. Yeah. And I paid for that. He paid for the gas. And when we left Florida, this is what we did the day before. We both went in on an OZ. So I gave him 50. He got 50. And then I gave him another 50 for a half, just for myself. So he takes the OZ, takes it home, and he rolls, I think it was 36 or 37 joints. And he had this this Budweiser kind of like false looking can thing that you just unscrew it and it's actually a compartment
and you
thing.
put it in there.
Yeah. So we left Florida with like 37 joints. Okay. We started out. We went to go to New Orleans. It was like 13 hours, I think. We would hit like Alabama, and then the time would go back for like the hour that we're in, and then we'd get to New Orleans, and then the time would go forward again, and we're like, oh shit, we gained. No, we lost it. We gained it. Every time we would stop, rest stops, get food, gas, whatever, we get a fucking joint. And to say we weren't stoned the entire way up there is stupid. So we eventually make it to New Orleans, probably about 8-9 o'clock at night, and called the lady up, and we're looking for this place. We don't know where the fuck it is. Then she tells us we have to take the Causeway Bridge. So we go over this bridge, which was more or less like, here's the city, and across this bridge is where our hotel room was. It's the longest bridge that's in America. It's 45 miles. I think every 10 or 15 miles, there's like a power station, like a little thing where, I'm sure like road patrollers or somebody has to go and check shit out. There's these satellites or whatever. And she's like, I hope you guys have, got a full tank of gas because you're going to need it. It's like 45 miles. Like, oh, God damn it. So he was driving, and he's kind of like, he's a mixture of stoned and sleepy. And he's sitting there, and he starts, I think he starts fucking with me. He starts going over with the car, like over to the side. I'm like, Mike! And he's like, what? I said, fuck, dude, you're sleeping. He goes, dude, man, I'm tired, bro. I'm tired. I said, Mike, you see that right over there? He goes, I don't see nothing, man. I said, that's right. I said, you know what that is? He's like, what? I said, it's the fucking ocean. I said, I don't want to sleep with the fishes tonight. I said, keep your goddamn eyes on the road. He's like, well, it better be coming up, man, because I'm fucking about ready to pass out. I said, hey, motherfucker. I said, you're gonna get there. I said, or pull over and I'll fucking drive the rest of the way. So we make it to the hotel. We check in. He doesn't know. I brought a little something with me because he's sitting there and he's like, hey, catch what I brought. And he brought this little bottle of hydro. I'm like, oh shit, man. Okay, cool. I'm like, hey, guess what I brought? And he's like, what? And I pulled out a quarter of the half that he bought me. I was like, oh, I brought a quarter. And he's like, no shit. He's like, oh fuck, great. So we went to bed, got up the next day. He had these white pills with this V on it. I don't know what. I guess it was like muscle relax or something. Handed me one. I took one. He took one, and then went and meet up with some of his friend that he knew. Smoked a joint. Met her for coffee. Then we drove into the city, and the road system in New Orleans is so fucking weird, dude. Because like you're up 10, 15 feet high in the air, going over the bayou, and you can look down and see like a little shack in the middle of nowhere, and you're like, how the fuck did they build this road? This is some fucking shit, man. Like this road is crazy. I don't, and then you're just driving over the woods, and so you drive into New Orleans, go down Bourbon Street, and check out that area, and you go to the House of Blues that's down there. We checked into some graveyards and stuff like that was there. That's pretty creepy. There was actually a Holocaust memorial that's down by the pier. That's pretty sick. And it's very moving. I actually made me cry a little bit,
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
But how was the actual festival, though?
Well, it wasn't a festival.
Well,
it
I mean,
was
like
a
the
show.
311 day, yeah.
Well, okay. So that night we stayed up till 2 o'clock in the morning just smoking up. So the entire time he's getting ready for the show the night before, and he rolled I think 2 spliffs, and I think we took 10 joints into the concert. So 2 blunts and 10 joints into the show. So come up day of the show, we go in and I think it's sold out. I'm not sure if it was 100% sold out, but it was, say, 98% sold out. And you had people from all different countries. You had Japan, you had Britain, you had Australia. You had everybody from all these walks of life coming to this one show. And it's 5.5 hours of just fucking rocking. I think it was like the equivalency of like 3 sets. And, each set was like 22 songs or something like that. And then the third set, they come back out, and it's like Who's Got the Herb, and they play at that show only. They played the Joker from Steve Miller. They covered the Joker.
Nice.
They've been known to cover song. They played White Riot from the Clash. They played that at one of the shows, and but all in all, it was a good experience. There was actually a little mini documentary that was released on one of their albums, like 2009 or 2010. It was like Road to 311 Day, and every time they would go out, like every time they would take a break and they would go away, they would always go back and it was fucking just chief it up too. And in the movie, every time you see them go back on stage, their eyes are just bloodshot red. Every time. You can even see it, like I think one of the time the cameras came on, they just got done smoking. You see all the smoke around them, And I mean, them guys, it's a testament to them. It's a total stamina thing for you to be able to go out there and play for 5.5 hours. There was no opening down at all. It was just 311, and it was one of the best shows I've seen. I mean, I've only seen them twice, and that was one of the most important ones. Of course, like Mike always says, like, well, hey, you saw the Super Bowl. This is the way he described it.
That's a great analogy.
Dude, going to the show, like, I'm getting ready to go to the show, and he's like, dude, I'm so pumped. He's like, this is like my fucking Super Bowl, dude. I'm ready. And he's like mid-40s, like almost cracking 50 kind of deal. And I'm like, dude, this guy's fucking freaking out. This guy's about to have a heart attack over this fucking band. I'm like, wow, okay.
Well, it's for good reason.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that. I mean, they played a lot of songs they haven't played since. Because even if you go on their website, you can check out songs from each set list, and even like the set list nowadays.
Set list FM, yeah.
Yeah, they're like, oh, they haven't played this song since like '97. Okay, wow, that's cool. They haven't played this song since 311 Day 2008, or they haven't played this one since 311 Day 2004. That's a fucking long time ago, dude. And then we headed out. We were actually leaving out of the show to go to the parking lot, and we came by these 2 hot chicks. I mean, like hot chicks, fucking just going at it. I mean, full on porno tongue, just going at it. And I went by and I passed by and I started laughing. And Mike's like, "What's so funny?" I said, That's why I love the 311 show, man. Shit like that. Fucking awesome tunes and hot babes. It's because they were one of those bands like Incubus that had a really sexy, very attractive front man that can, bring in the chicks. The chicks hear the song like, oh man, I love you, Nick. And there are still girls to this day that go to the show and, hold his picture up and, you're so hot, I love you. But, you know what? Cue a toilet flush.